Hello, students. Today is Monday, January 11th. And before we start our lesson today, once again, we have a retrieval practice that you're going to need to work on. So just go ahead and click on the link here for the retrieval practice. And you're going to complete all that's on here. Remember, put your first and your last name. Indicate who your teacher is by clicking on the bubble beside your teacher's name. And there are going to be some questions that are not necessarily related to our lessons, and there are some that are related to math. So you're just going to answer all those questions to the best of your ability. Now, the math related questions, you're going to need to use your notebook to solve them. Okay, so just write them in your notebook to solve them. It shouldn't really take us that long. There's only a couple of them that are directly math related. This is one of them. There are 900 books in the fiction section of the library. Which expression has the same value as 900? And you're going to choose the correct answer out of this. And the next one here is also math related. The baseball stadium has seats for 49,586 people. There were 29,878 people at Thursday night's game. How many seats were empty? So you're going to have to determine what operation you're going to use here. And once you decide what operation you're going to use, I want you to solve it in your notebook, and then you're going to select the correct answer here. And all of the other questions are just general questions that I want you to answer to the best of your ability. And once you finish, go on and hit submit. So once you finish with this, go on and hit submit. And you have to complete this before we start our lesson. You've had an opportunity already to complete the retrieval practice link that I've already gone over. And now we're starting on our slides for today. And the next slide is just our multiplication table. And this is just here for you as a resource. Just here as a resource, just in case you forgot about some of your math facts, you can always go back right here and look at the table. And after that, I've got two slides where you have an opportunity to insert a picture of your work. Now, many times we have an opportunity to either do a Jamboard, or sometimes in our binder, there's a certain page that is the same as the Jamboard. So you can choose to do your work in the Jamboard or in the binder. But if you do your work in the binder, your teacher still needs to see your work. So that's when you need to take a picture of your work in the binder. Or if you work in your notebook, take a picture of your work and insert it in here so that your teacher will know that you've done it. All right, so today is Monday, January 11th, and today we're going to be discussing lesson 22. And our title for this lesson is Equal Area and Perimeters. Is it possible? Our learning target for today: I can use the relationship between area and perimeter to decide if a rectangle can numerically have the same area and perimeter. Our essential questions for this entire unit remains the same. Why is it important to approach problems using a variety of strategies? And on our next slide, what is the area and perimeter of these two figures? So if you look right here, we've got one rectangle that's 6 feet by 4 feet, and we've got another rectangle that's 6 feet by 2 feet. So I want you to take a minute to look that over, see if you can determine what is the area and perimeter of that. You look at these two rectangles and you try to determine the area and perimeter. There's some things I want you to keep in mind, and just relate your thinking to the formulas that we've already discussed in our last class. And previously we've discussed the formulas that the area is the length times width, and the perimeter is when you add up all four sides. So the perimeter is when you add up all four sides. All right, so you've had an opportunity to work on these two rectangles, and I've got my answer key here. So in that first rectangle, the area is 24 square feet, because remember, that is going to be the length times the width. So 6 times 4 is 24. Or you could have counted all the different tiles in there, and you'd get a total of 24. So remember, the area is the inside of a figure, and the perimeter is the outside. So the perimeter is going to be all the different 4 sides here. So one way to do it is to add up all those sides. So you got 6, and of course this one is still 6 feet, and 4 on this side, and these are the exact same size. So this is also going to be 4. So 6 plus 6 plus 4 plus 4 is 20. So you've got 20 feet for the perimeter and 24 square feet for the area for that one. Now another way to figure out the perimeter, in addition to adding up all the sides, you could just say 2 times 6 plus 4, which is, you're going to get the same answer. You got 2 times 6 is 12, and 2 times 4 is 8. Then when you add them up, you still get the same, of 20. Now let's go over to the other rectangle. You've got length of 6 feet, you got a width of 2 feet. So the area equals 6 times 2 equals 12 square feet. And because the tiles are showing in here, if you added them all up, you're still going to get 12. Now for the perimeter, same thing. You, as the other rectangle, add up all 4 sides, 6 plus 6 plus 2 plus 2, and that's going to be 16. Okay, so that's the answer that you should have using the formulas that we've already practiced. And if you're looking closely at what we have here on that first rectangle, you'll notice that it has an area of 24 and it has a perimeter of 20. So in this case, the area is bigger than the perimeter. And if you look at the second rectangle, the area is 12 and the perimeter is 16. So in this one, it's just the opposite. The area is smaller than the perimeter. So it could go either way. On our next slide, is it possible to have a rectangle that has the same numerical area and perimeter? So we just looked at the previous slide where we had a rectangle where the area was bigger than the perimeter. And then the next one, the perimeter was larger than the actual area. So this question is it possible to have a rectangle that has the same numerical area and perimeter? So we're going to look at this on a Jamboard. So you have a few Jamboards that were assigned to you, and I'll show you exactly which one you need to look at here. So you've had a chance to take a look at our question here and to try to come up with a answer to this question and some examples that go along with it. Is it possible to have a rectangle that has the same numerical area and perimeter? Now, this one is a matter of being able to use trial and error on it. So that means you just try different strategies on it. So let's say that we're picking an area of, let's say we want our area to be 24. And we all know that there's several different combinations that we could use right here. So if we did 1, let's say we did 24 and 1, we know that the area would be 24, but would the perimeter be 24? Obviously it would not, because you'd have to add up all these sides and it'd be a lot more than 24. So that one wouldn't work. So let's still take the area 24 again, and we're just going to practice and use another combination. How about 12 and 2? So the area would be 24, but what would the perimeter be? So if we added up all the sides, it'd be bigger than 24, because 12 and 12 is 24. Then you have to add the 2 sides, and that's too much. So that wouldn't work either. So let's try a different combination here. Let's do 8 and 3. See, the area would be 24, but what about the perimeter? So you've got 8 and 8 is 16, plus 3, 19, plus 3, 22. So that one wouldn't work either. All right, so those combinations, let's try one more here for 24. Let's do 6 and 4. So the area would be 24 for this, but how about when we add up all the sides? 6 and 6 is 12, plus 4 is 16, plus another 4 is 20, so that wouldn't work either. So using an area 24 would not work, but let's go ahead and let's see if it will work for a different number. So let's pick an area of 16. And I'm going to say 4 and 4. So this is actually going to end up being a square. So 4 times 4 is 16, but how about we add them all up now? All 4 sides are the same. So this case, the parameter would be 16. So yes, it is possible. Let's look at another example here of, see, I'll try area 18 for this particular rectangle. And how about I choose 6 and 3? So now the area will be 18, but what about the perimeter? So 3, we're going to add up all the sides. 6 and 6 is 12, plus 3 is 15, plus another 3 is 18. So guess what? That one also works. So is it possible to have a rectangle that has the same numerical area and perimeter? The answer is going to be yes to that. So the answer is yes. All right, so on our next slide, this is slide number 11, you got an exit ticket that you are going to need to complete for a grade. And that also is going to be a Jamboard that's been assigned to you, and I will show you exactly which one you should be doing. Okay, so this is the Jamboard exit ticket that you have to complete for a grade, and it's got 2 problems on it. It's got 2 different problems on it at the top. The first one, create 3 rectangles that have the same area but different perimeters. Create 3 rectangles that have the same area but different perimeters. So you're going to just draw your rectangles here in this area. Okay, so draw your rectangles out here, and that's going to be the first one. Okay, make sure you label your dimensions like I did on the previous one. Label your dimensions. And the second one here is create 3 rectangles that have the same perimeter but different areas. So just pause the video and make sure you go in and complete those first before we move on. So you completed the exit ticket on the Jamboard, and now on our next slide, there's some additional activities for you to get more practice on. This is a Quizlet game regarding area and perimeter, and we're going to click on here in just a second, and you're going to just be asked basic questions about area and perimeter, and you're going to have to be able to answer them. Okay, so you click right there in the Quizlet game on the little icon there, and now you've got area and perimeter. So and just like you do for others, just click on the center and it's going to be able to switch and go to the next one and show you answers. So what is the perimeter of the figure above? I want you to work it out in your notebook, and then you click on it to get your answer. Okay, and you're going to continue to work on that until you go through all of them. And on our last slide here, just a reminder of the things that you need to do to complete today's lessons. Make sure you finish the Quizlet up. Go through the Quizlet. That gives you a lot of excellent practice. And also work on Dreambox for 15 minutes. That's your independent work.